so much better. Zoom is just like a million times
I look better
superior.
on here too. I look better on here too.
I blurred your background.
Yeah.
I can blur. Oh, oops. That was not what I was trying to do. Blur background. No, I think mine looks better clear.
Yeah.
Cool. So basically I've been writing these like testimonial article type posts for TED and just kind of like capturing some of the cool stories that are happening right now in like the school community and just like all the awesome wins. And basically like it's just kind of a hero's journey. Like, are you familiar with that story format? Yeah. So like the brutal before, divine discovery, and then like the amazing dream life outcome where like you have zero problems and your life is perfect. That's the picture that we're painting here. But I was like, he'd written an email. I don't know if you saw it. He wrote an email like a little bit about you. It was like three
Yeah.
sentences about you. Yeah. Did you see that?
Oh, check. How long
Yeah.
ago?
I think he literally just shared the fact that you were 17 and how much money you made. But there's no story. I was like, Ted, we need some story here. Um, he sent that like maybe 2 weeks ago. So yeah. But I'm curious because like I don't know your story either. So I guess start from the top. Where was it like that you started as far as like you could start with like what your life situation was or just like how you discovered entrepreneurship and sort of why you wanted to pursue that?
So here's what I think might come off as better. Because the thing is, a lot of people in school, like I'll answer your question in a second. I think a lot of people are actually middle class, but
Mm-hmm.
like they can't relate to the person who started like I was dirt poor. Like they can't relate to that, right? Like, were you middle class or were you like you're like lower
Yeah,
class,
lower
like
middle class. Yeah.
lower middle class? I was aggressively middle class. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm normal. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like we got a house, like I got a family, like we're good, right? So I honestly never struggled. Like if you want a journey, this is gonna be more of like a normal journey, you know? Like it's not crazy. I actually think that'll relate more, to be honest. So there's a sense of pain in that, in the trapness. So I'll tell you from that perspective, or I can give you an actual hero's journey and like tell you some stuff where I felt painful. So I'm gonna ask you like, which one would you prefer? The one where it's more like I'm a normal guy, but you can still do this, or I was dead broke, you can do this.
Well, I definitely don't want you to make anything up.
I
But
mean, it's about framing. So it's up to
yeah,
you. Like,
for
what do you
sure.
like?
I do think that would be a unique perspective. Like, kind of like it wasn't like you had a desperate need to become an entrepreneur. It wasn't your only door, but it like in your mind it was your only door or something like that. Like, kind of from you coming from like a bit of a comfortable background, but you still knew that there's something else out there. Like, whatever the story is, just tell it honest, and then I can emphasize the points I think will resonate best.
Okay, cool. So yeah, where do I start? So there's a point in about this was last year actually this time, October. It was my birthday, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna set a goal for next year. Why did I set the goal? I was bored. I had nothing to do. My life is actually really bland because like it's just like I have nothing to do. Like I'm middle class. Like, okay, I'll get a job. I'll be fine. But I'm like, I don't want to do this again. I'm just tired of being. I'm like scared of being normal. And so I
Mhm.
was like, let me just do something. So I set a goal. I'm like, okay, by like next year, October, I can probably hit like 10,000 months, right? That's something I can do. And so I just set the goal. And honestly, for a month, I'm gonna be so honest with you, I didn't do shit. Like I didn't really I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm doing fine. I got food. I got water. Um, but I was still in high school at this point. I was a senior, and I signed up for early graduation because I'm like, I'm done with school. I hate this. And so early graduation happened in January, and so I had all this like work to do up till January, and then January hits, I'm like free. So it's like,
Mhm.
what do I do? And so for like a month, I was just like bored out of my mind. Like 2 weeks in, I started like doing weird shit. I was like laying on the floor. Like this is my childhood bedroom. I was like laying down on the floor, just like my legs up on the bed. I'm like, what do I do? And then I remember I had a goal I set in October, 10K a month. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll build a business. Like, and then I'm like, what do I build it on? All right, well, Fitness. I'm fit. I'm not too fit. I don't think people listen to me. Um, like, can I sell how to build a YouTube channel? I did YouTube for fun. I got 7 million views, but like, I'm not too great at that. What I was really good at, I was really good at school. Really good at school. Even though I hated it, I loved like getting tasks and doing the best I could on them. I'm like, I'll just sell that. Like it's something I'm good at, something that works. I've seen the business work before. I'll just work on that. Okay, but what do I do now? Like, just call people. Like, what do I do? And so at this point, I was just procrastinating. I'm like, yeah, I don't need it. So I was walking around on YouTube and I watched a lot of Alex Ramosi at this point. I listened to him religiously for like 2 years. Like I was so bored out of my mind. I just listened to business stuff. And at one point he was on a podcast and I see him wearing this little hat. Like, why he switched his hat? It was like an acquisition hat. Now it's like this thing. It's like school. Like, is he stupid? And then I searched it up. I searched up school. I'm like, oh, this is the thing. School games win one day with Ramosi. That's interesting. The guy I've been listening to for 2, 3 years. Maybe I can get something out of this. So I looked into school. I'm like, damn, this is like a community hosting platform. Pretty new. This was like back in mid-January, late January. I'm like, you know what? I think I can probably start it on here. And so January, I don't remember the date. It was like mid-January. I started a school community. And keep in mind, I'm a kid still, so I have $0. I have like nothing in my account. Start the free trial. I'm like, Mom, can I use your credit card? So I used my mom's card
Oh,
and I used it to like sign up for the free trial. I'm like, I promise you, I'll pay it back. I promise you. She's like, it's okay, son. Like you're fine. Um, she was really sweet. But sign up for it, whatever. I was so bored. I'm like, okay, let me start this. And so I didn't take it seriously again for the first like 2, 3 weeks. I was like, let me just do this. Like, let me call some people. You need help on your SATs? And he's like, nah, like I'm all right. It's nothing too serious. Another guy, hey, I got a really nice score. Like, I can help you out. He's like, oh, sure. I'm like, okay, bet. Like, I got one guy. I didn't want to charge him. I was too scared to charge him. I'm like, I'll just help you, man. Like, don't worry about it. And so helped him. And this was actually me discovering like how you can actually help someone. So I was trying to learn like what actually works to help teach people. I think with
mhm,
like SAT testing, fitness in general, even too, it's like pretty straightforward. Like you just need to do the work.
mhm.
The hard thing is motivating you to do the work. That's a different conversation. But yeah, I just pretty much told him, hey, you got to do this. I'm gonna call you every day and make sure you do this, and that's all you got to do. And his test, I believe, was in like March, so yeah, like a month and a half. So over
Mhm.
that period of time, I asked him, hey, do you have any other friends that like I can help out? I'm not gonna charge them, just like it's for fun. So I was like, I got like 3 or 4 people from that. I had like this tiny little group, they're all for free. I'm just like slaving away every day, just helping them. But during this period of time, I was building my product. And so I was thinking, okay, what works is daily calls. People love that. It keeps them consistent. That's how they get the work done. Okay, that's something I could do. What works is checking in with them every day. Okay, that's a good process. What works is like a list. You gotta complete this every single day, right? And so I kept on building off of that. And from there, yeah, I just got these guys results. March came around. They absolutely destroyed their test. They killed it. Like they did so amazing that all of them actually referred someone else. But this dude helped me like get these results. Like you should really like work with him. And I wasn't charging anything at this point. Like the school was still free, and the 14-day trial had ended at this point. I was about to get the second charge. I'm like, Mom, like don't worry about the charges. Like I got you. She's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. She was so sweet. But yeah, then I'm like, you know what? Let me try charging these guys. So I told the first dude, I'm like, can you pay me like $10? Like, do you have cash? So it's like he just gave me $10 cash. I'm like, first payment. I felt so relieved. I'm like, this is amazing. But I'm like, I need to
What
make
and
this.
what time was this? Like what month?
This was about Marchish,
Wow, okay.
like early March when they referred and they got the scores. And yeah, at this point I was like, so I can actually make money if this works. And so that's when I'm like, okay, but I want to do this online, not in person. I want cash. I want like online business. Like I saw the MR dashboard. I'm like, I want this to fill up. It was at $0. And so I told him, hey, can you like do that online? I gave him the cash back. Did it online. Cool. First 10 MR. Amazing. And from there, I'm like, okay, if I want to do this online, I need to grow. So this is when I found my 2 guys. Pretty much they work with me now. Just 2 of my friends. And they're some of the hardest working people I know in school. I'm like, that skill probably transfers. So I'm like, guys, you want to like make money? They're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Join me. They joined me. And yeah, we started from there. I put them like Juan, that's his name, one of them. I'm like, you're doing Instagram organic. Cam, he's the other dude. You're doing ads. I will do product. And we
Hmm.
all agreed on that. And that's what we stuck to. And so we just specialized in our own thing. So Juwan went all in on organic. Like that's all he did. He learned about Instagram. He learned how to post, like schedules. We tried YouTube. We tried everything. We tried TikTok first. Um, and he was actually smart enough to think, why don't we get affiliate? I'm like, that's smart. And so we went for affiliate. And so we got, this one dude. We DM like we messaged 100 people and we gave him this absurd offer. Like it was so crazy. I look back, I like start crying. So I'm like, this is dumb. We messaged 100 people and you might be like, okay, affiliate program, okay, 40% monthly, right? Like what could you offer them? We gave them 80%.
What?
We gave them
Damn.
80%. So it's like I send 100 DMs, one of them's gonna reply to 80%. Few people thought it was a joke. One guy took it serious. He had like 8K followers on TikTok. His name was Daniel. And like affiliate deal, cool. I hid marketing. I didn't want to touch any of that. So I'm like, Daniel, just promote this thing. We're gonna make you a website. We opened up like a Wix website. More money down my mom's pocket, by the way. So we opened up Wix, $40. I'm like, Mom, here's 10. Like, here's $10 for you. Like, I'll pay you back. I promise. They're like, it's
How are
okay.
you study? Like, how did you know to get affiliates? Was this all from Alex Ramosi content, or were you studying other people in school? Like, what was your inspiration, like, as you're building out a team and building out affiliates and all of this?
I just watch so much content. Like my whole day, and I kid you not, I'd work out maybe like twice a week actually. I'd watch YouTube, mostly Alex Ramosi stuff, um, some Sam Ovens, and then I would just like work. Like that was my whole day. I had nothing to do. It was really sad. But like
Wow.
at some point it got fun, because
Were
that's when you
you
start
like,
making money.
and were you watching like other people on school, what they were doing? Because there was nobody really in your niche.
That's a little after. That's about Max. I'll tell you about Max.
Hmm.
Um, that was more Mayish, which I'll get to. But yeah, at this point it was like end of March. And we are all experimenting, whatever. And we did get a few more people. So from the affiliate dude, first guy got on a sales call. It's my first ever sales call. I'm like, shit, this is a sales call. And so I'm like, how do I pitch it to this person? It's free. It's free. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I was so scared to sell online. I'm like, I don't even know this person. I got him
Yeah.
in for free. I'm like, okay, next person, I have to sell. I have to sell this next person. And the affiliate dude was like, hey, you got one person. I saw that. He was also in the community. I'm like, oh, I gave him for free. Oh, don't worry, I'll get the next dude. I'll get the next dude. He's like, no worries. The guy was super chill. And we got the next dude on call. This was like a week later. This was my actual first ever sales call. And so I was like, okay. I pitched him the whole thing. I'm like, here's what we do, daily calls, like here's the product, etc. Right? He loved it. I'm like, uh yeah, so it's gonna be 99 a month. He's like, oh yeah, perfect. What do I pay? I'm like, oh, here's the link. And I went to the Zoom chat. It was on Zoom. I put in school.com/tutoring. And so then he clicked on it. I'm like, do you know how to pay? He's like, yeah, where do I pay? I was like shaking. I'm like, oh, you see this button right here? I was like tracking with the trackpad and the trackpad was shaking.
Oh my God.
I'm like, no way I'm about to make $99. He clicks it and I'm like, all right, take your time. I'm just sitting there in silence as he puts in his like credit card information. I'm just sitting there like a little like nerd, just like I'm about to make money. And then I hear the ka-ching, and here's because this is really awkward. Here's ka-ching too because I'm staring at my screen, and I'm like, "Oh, welcome in." My heart rate went up. I still remember that day. Heart rate went up like crazy. That was amazing. Um, and I called the whole team
When was
after that. This was like end of March, early May, early April.
that? Hmm.
We got our first guy, and from there, it just kept on growing very slowly, super slowly. Um, that was the first guy. The next two sales calls, of course, I failed. That first one just gave me the motivation. Next few ones, of course, I got declined, declined, declined. I'm like, whatever, I still got more money. And so I'm like, oh, I finally made $99. I didn't make $99. I made $19. Remember that 80% deal? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
big price to pay. So the rest of the 19 went to my mom. I'm like, Mom, here's a portion of the bills. She's like, it's okay, don't worry. Thank you. Um, the business built on the back of my mouth. But yeah. kept doing that. And honestly, throughout that time, I'd say I would sell one out of every like 10 calls. And we started getting more and more calls over time. Not too many, but eventually for the month of April, we got about, I would say like maybe 50-ish calls, maybe 60, which is really good for an affiliate. And we got really lucky because our affiliate went from 8K to like 30K in that whole month. He was crazy. He was really good on TikTok. And so we're getting a lot of people from that. So yeah, super lucky that first month. 60 sales calls. By the end of the month, I think we're doing like 400-ish MRR, maybe 500, something like that. It wasn't some crazy number, but luckily in the contract that I gave our affiliate guy, I told him it's 80% for the first month. I didn't say anything after that. I saved my, if I didn't do that, I don't think I'd be here right now. I'm like,
That's
oh, technically, I hit him with the nerd. I'm like, oh, technically, it's like 80% for the first month. He's like, it's fine. I know you guys need to grow. I'm like, thank you. So we got to keep that second month's income. And at this point, I'm like, okay, what can I do? We have money. Paid some back to my mom, obviously. I'm like, here, mom, here's the initial payment covered. She's like, what are you doing? You're making money online? I'm like, yeah. Um, I'm like, where can I put this cash? So I was browsing around on school, and it was at this point I was kind of looking for mentorships, like someone who could help me out. Like, where can I get more knowledge? Where can I get from information? Because I learned that from Hormozy that like getting a mentor, someone you can learn from, the most important thing. I'm like, I can't learn from Hormozy. Like they have the 1 day recordings, so like, can't like $300. What are you gonna do with that? I can get like maybe 30 seconds of his time, but
yeah.
like maybe 10, right? But I thought, okay, I see this other dude, his name's Max Person, and he had this community. It was called like Max Premium at the time. Now
Mhm.
School Masterclass. Um, I'm like, hey Max, this is like early May. I'm like, you know what? Let me check his free community out. And so check this free community out. He had a nice thing. It's like pay to unlock his like whole course. So I'm like, it's like book a call. I'm like, let me book this call. His name is Dylan Honslick. Booked
Dylan's
a call with
awesome.
him. Yeah, yeah. And super chill dude. He's from San Diego. We related on the fact I was LA. And yeah, it was just from there I got on a call with him. I told the dude, he's showing me his like testimonials, like, oh, here's some of the results you got. I'm like, how many people have you gotten results? He's like, oh, we have a few testimonials here. You showed it, right? I'm like, do you guarantee results? He's like, no, if you put in the work, obviously, right? Everybody says that. I'm like, I'm gonna be your best testimony. I straight up said that to him, like on that call. And he probably thought he didn't think much of it. Like he was just like, oh, whatever. Let me just sell this guy, right? But I meant it. Like I was sitting there, I'm like, I'm gonna be your best testimony. Because he didn't have like crazy results. I'm like, I can do it. So right when we paid, I gave my whole team because I wasn't about to pay for like 3 accounts. So I gave Cam and Joan. I'm like, here's my login details for my accounts. Watch this stuff. And so we just like for the that first week of buying, we just like watched everything on there. Like we didn't attend any calls, we didn't post anything. We just watched everything. And at some point, I'm like, okay, we got great knowledge replies from it. But I'm like, wait, if Max is trying to maximize his sales, why don't I just like steal his stuff? So what I did, I kid you not, I looked at his about page. I took my cursor, I dragged on it, I copied it, and I put it to our about page. I took his VSL, wrote out every word of the script, put it on mine. Like I stole the pictures from his thing. I went inside his like pin post, copied that, his introduction, like the first DM you get. Like I stole everything. It
Mhm.
was so funny. Um, and the crazy thing was that month it worked.
Mhm.
Just purely off the affiliates. We weren't that great at organic at this point. We didn't even do paid ads. Purely off of the affiliate, we started converting more. And because of that, I got better at sales. Our about page was better. Community looked professional. From the start of May, we're doing like maybe 300, 400-ish a month. I think by the end of that month or mid throughout it, it was like 3 or 4K per month we're doing by midpoint. And by the end, I think we were at 10 just because I copied the dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I didn't attend any of his calls. I just looked at his masterclass course, whatever it was, school masterclass. I stole it and I took the calls and that's it.
You didn't log on
So
any of the live calls at all?
nothing. Like I
Wow.
actually canceled after the first one. I'm like, I was too
Yep.
stingy with money. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not paying for this.
I actually did the same thing when I joined his program. I was there for
First
a
month,
month. Yep. I
yeah,
I I joined Ted's program and Max's at the same time, and then just yeah, stole both of their strategies.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just stole it. I'm like, works for them, will work for me. and it's
Yeah.
true. Um, and so yeah, that month was the craziest month. That was the month that we made most of progress. That was the month I was to work the most. At this point, we're sitting at like 10-ish thousand, maybe by the end of May, start of June, and we had a lot of students. So in between that, the reason we made so much is because we weren't selling 99. I was actually really scared of this. I tried to increase the price because Max told me to, or he didn't tell me to, but I was like, I made a post and I was like, what should I do with this price? And he's like, you gotta increase the price. I'm like, 99, yeah. I'm gonna sell it for like 109. That's what they meant by increased price, right? Like 10 more dollars. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. So I increased the price to 109. I was so scared. I'm like, we're in the hundreds now, like big product. First guy didn't buy it. Second guy bought 109. I'm like, wait, oh, 109 works. I'm like, what if I do a little more? Start getting like a little greedy. I'm like, okay, yes. 129. 129. I'm trying 129. Next person bought. I'm like, it's 159. So I went for 159. Next person did buy. Person after that didn't buy. I'm like, oh, okay. Can't sell 159. Person after that bought 159. I'm like, oh. And I was saying to my team, like, guys, I just sold like three people at like three different prices. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, should I go higher? And they're like, you should go for 299. I'm like, are you serious? They're like, yeah. So scared. I went on this next field call. I was like, my palms were sweating. Like, will they even buy it? Are they gonna laugh at me? And so went on that call and took it, showed them everything, right? Got to the point. They're like, oh, so how much does this cost? I'm like, oh, it's 299 1 month, 299 for 1 month, 299 for 1 month. And they muted for a second, the parent and the kid, and they talked about it to each other. I saw the girl nodding, like the daughter was like, "Yep." The dad was like, "Okay," and then they unmuted, like, "Okay, how do we pay?" I'm like, "Holy shit, 299." I changed the price real quick on school. I quickly changed. I sent them the link, and they bought. I'm like, I texted my team on WhatsApp, guys, we just made 299. Oh, and so it was at this point I negotiated with their affiliate dude. I'm like 80% is like a lot. Do you think I can like push it down to $80? He's like, that's cool. We can do that. I was so grateful for him. I love him. Um, and so we got it down to $80 so we can keep majority profits. At this point, I'm so happy. I'm like, yes. And
Yeah.
so now I was able to pay back my mom. I switched to my card. I got a card. And I'm like, Mom, thank you. I give her like a little extra. I took her out for like a dinner. And then after that, that's when stuff started getting crazy. 299. Went for the next one, 349, 399, 499. It maxed out like 599 ish. I was too scared to go past that,
Hmm.
which Ted broke that for me now later. But yeah, that was how we made most of our sales that time. That was a crazy journey.
And
This
that's
will be
like, is that the number you won the games with? Was 599?
no, no. I won the games because of Ted. This was in June. Yeah. So how in detail do you want me? I'm going really in detail. So if you want me to like just skip through,
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear sort of like you don't have to be super detailed, but like the kind of like what it was, what the number was, like you mentioned, you had that kind of limiting belief, and then what it looked like meeting Ted, and what was it that he told you that kind of shift that belief to allow you to win the games?
I'll skip forward. Yeah. So yeah, June, July, it was just like we just did the same numbers, 10K, 10K, and I learned a lot more in that time. But August came around, and at this point, I'm like, guys, I think we can win the August game. And they're like, uh, I don't know. So we tried for the August games, and like we were at 10K, and we grew to like 20. Like that
Hmm.
still wasn't enough. It was like it wasn't that much at all, and we lost some of it during that time because like people turned out, and so August like we were like fifth place for like a day and a half, and then we lost it. So yeah, that was sad. I'm like, guys, let's prepare for the September game. And it was at this point that I was moving to LA from North Carolina because I'm still living here. And August 23rd is when I moved to LA. And at this point, I'm like, wait, isn't school HQ here? And I just kind of searched it up. I like found it on Google. I'm like, oh, they're in this place called El Segundo. I'm like, El Segundo. I searched it up where I'm at, and it's like 40 minutes away. I'm like, oh, El Segundo's close. I didn't have the address. Nor did I have permission. I can't just show up. Like, what can I do? Some dude was coming from like Rhode Island, and he's like, "Oh, I'm getting into I got invited to the school place, right? The school HQ. You got to level 7." And he's like, I need a place to stay. Anybody have a spot? I'm like, perfect. I have an extra bed on my other side. He's like, cool. So I called him over. He came in. Some random dude. I had no clue who this was. I was scared I was gonna get raped or something. And so he came over, and I got him on our bed. I'm like, I got one request. Do you think I can come to the school HQ with you? At this point, it was like September. So September started. School game started. We did a crazy launch first day. We told our affiliate get shit ready. We got another person who we paid. We had a good amount of cash at this point. We paid 9K for a program to help us grow our Instagram. We went from 0 to 18K by the end of that month on Instagram. And so we shifted more to our organic rather than affiliate. And so that's how we did so much on the first day. We just like hype sold so much. And at this point, it's like September, I'll say 7th, 8th. And this dude, I told him, can I go to the school HQ with you? He's like, let me ask Goose. I'm like, Who's Goose? So he texted this guy named Goose. I'm like, Goose? And the guy told him, yeah, sure. I'm like, well, ask the Goose, man. Like, he knows. And so pulled up with him. And just at this point, I thought, wait, I'm surrounded by geniuses. Let me just ask these guys for advice. So I was like first place on the leaderboard for a really long time. Of course, then they announced the Cybertruck. I died, but like I was first place for a while, and so people saw me like, "Oh my god, he's first place!" Like, let me take advantage of it. I think this was the first day I saw you. I think, or maybe not. But yeah, I was there, and I went out. I just chatted to everybody. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Hey, this guy named Benny D. He was on Ted Carr's team." I said hi to Goose. Goose was pretty cool. I said hi to a lot of people. I just sat and chatted with them. This guy named Nick who works at school, and yeah, just really cool team. And I learned a lot from them, but my greatest limiting belief was broken by Benny. He told me you need salespeople and you need to up your price. I'm like, I can't up my price any more than where I'm at. So I didn't really listen to him. I'm like, oh, whatever, right? I kept on selling him. We kept in first place. It was great. But then I came again a week later. At this point, Ted Carr was there, and so I went. I had no clue Ted Carr was actually at this point. I was letting like entrepreneurs, but like I didn't know who owned the thing, so I met him. I'm like, oh, what's your name? He's like Ted. I'm like, oh, nice. What do you do? He's like, oh, I do entrepreneurs. I'm like, oh, you do entrepreneurs. Wow. Nice. So, yeah, you see me, I'm like on the leaderboard, right? You see that? He's like, oh, yeah, very, very straightforward guy. And I was like, okay, so I'm having this problem here with this and that. So I talked to him for a bit. He's like, dude, you need to up your prices. I'm like, why? He's like, your conversion rate is too high. We were selling like 50% of people on call. He's like, you can get way more for way less.
Mhm.
I'm like, how much more can I go? Like, I'm at 5 night. Like, I can't do 1,000. No one's gonna pay that. These are kids. He's like, just do it. So right after that, this was like September like 20th ish, and we were at like 25K for that month, like new MR. And he's like, just do it. I'm like, okay. And so after I did that, the first call I did after that, I kid you not, first call, I literally put it up to 899. We got it 899 still. The call after that, I'm like, let me just max it out. I just did 999. I was bored at this point. I got that 999. I'm like, what? And so at this point, I told my whole like closers, I told everyone, guys, we just made $2,000. Like what? I'm like, yeah, for two people. And like keep doing that. I'm like, doing. We had 5 people over the next few days at 999. Absurdity. Still can't believe I did that. Um, and within that last 10 days, we made about 15,000 because of Ted.
Wow.
Just him up in the price. Like nothing changed except for the price.
Yeah. Insane. And what did you close out that month total MRR at? Because I think school games was in the 40s, right?
Full game we hit exactly 40, but total was 46.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So insane. How did that feel? Like, obviously, like it wasn't like you grew up in a shack and this is like, life changing. But I mean, I think 46 grand is life changing for just about any income bracket to make at 17 years old.
I mean, nothing changed. It's actually weird.
Hmm.
When I made the first like 100, that feeling was it. Like nothing blew past that.
Yeah.
I it was just like I'm like, oh my God, we're drinking 46. And everybody in my close group, like all the guys, Cam and Juwan, they're also pretty well off. Like they're also middle class. They're normal. We're actually probably upper middle class if you consider it. Um, it didn't really like it's more than our parents 100%, but our life didn't change. Like we didn't start taking like absurd like vacations or anything. We're just like, let me just put this back. Like I'm still living. I'm gonna have the same water. Like, I still have food. We went out for like a dinner too. I got him like a mic, and that's it. We really didn't spend any of this on ourselves, by the way. Like it's all purely back in. Um, and so I didn't feel it. Like,
Yeah. That first sale is the biggest win.
yeah, I still don't feel it. Like we lost a lot of it now because of churn. Churn is stupidly high. But it's like I don't feel that loss. It's just like, oh no, I can get them again. It's not
Yeah.
really. It's weird.
Yeah. Now the key is being able to capture that sense of urgency that you had for the school games and just repeat that. Like
Yeah.
repeat that for the top 10 or repeat that just to get the crown back or whatever it is that motivates you, just the status. Like that's like how you can kind of continue to grow that. But it's exciting that you already have a team built that is like aligned with your goals because that's I think the bottleneck people encounter right after the games is like having a team. And a lot of people have to kind of rush to build a team in order to do delivery and you already have that built. So obviously, you mentioned Benny said you had to build a sales team. So have you hired salespeople, or do you still do all those sales calls?
I have one other dude who's just purely sales. He only does sales. And I give
Mhm.
him everything now. So obviously he's new. So I give him a grace. I'm like, take a month. It's gonna take you a while. Like you're not gonna get sales. And so as a result of that, like our business declined. Like it literally declined when he joined. I'm like, I don't care. You're with us. I sit with him
Mhm.
all the time on sales calls. I'm like, we're gonna work through this. He loves to do sales calls. And so now he's gonna end up being better than me probably in the next 2 weeks because of that. I don't care. Like I took the hit because I don't feel the hit. So I'm like, we lost like 10K because of you. I don't care. Like this is a 10K lesson. So it makes him stay even longer. And
Yep.
so yeah, he took over. I'm gonna make him take over all the calls. I'm still gonna take a few just to like still want to keep the skill. It's the skill. But
Mhm.
he took over everything. We got DM setters. We got two. I think we have two of them now. Maybe three. We have three. And we have like team for like delivering the product, which is people take. We have two tutors, one guy who's just a community engager, and then we have the other two guys who work with me. We're the main, I guess you can say, co-founders.
Awesome. Awesome. Super exciting. Well, that's an incredible story. I love how you kind of took everything from Max, built out the initial product, and then it was Ted in the end, just that last like 15K push. Because it was ironically, it was like vice versa for me. I took everything from Ted, and then I got on a call with Max on the 20th of August, and I was only at 8K. And I closed out the month at like over 30K. I think new MRR was like 29K, but that was because of like a pivot Max suggested in my offer. So yeah, kind of vice versa of like what you experienced. But it's funny, a lot of people I think that work with either Max or Ted work with the other one as well. And like either they start off in low ticket and then they find Ted and they do high ticket, or they start off in high ticket and they learn how to build a school community from Max. So it's really cool how that seems to go hand in hand. They should like collab or something, but I think they're in competition with each other. But awesome. Well, I appreciate you getting on this call. I'm gonna create an awesome story out of this. I'll definitely send it to you once I have it drafted up. But this will be cool. I think I could probably create some like a version of like a kind of version for Max where it talks about like building the initial product and getting that initial feedback, and then also a version for Ted because ironically they're both my clients.
Oh
So
God, do they ever tell you like, don't work for him? Like he's my competitor.
Um, well, Ted was my first client. And then Max was like one of my dream clients. So yeah, I think Ted actually heard that I was working for Max, and that's when he was like, "Oh, I want to make sure I'm still working with Patrice." But they're I mean they're not like directly in competition, so they're just kind of like they have a lot of the same success stories. Like Farhoon, myself, Goose, like just about all these like school games winners that like I have a testimonial for one of them. I also have a testimonial for the other. So a lot of times Ted I would say has an audience that comes from outside of school, whereas Max, his audience comes from mostly in school. When it comes to like really successful people, they're usually already on the platform. Um, so a lot of times I think Ted will have unique stories because they come from other places, but a lot of times Max's stories, they've seen Ted stuff as well. So it's kind of cool to see how that overlap happens. But they help they help people with different things. So it's not like the same offer. Max is very much how to build a course, how to, build the community, how to, really structure that. And then Ted is like how to get sales, how to create an offer. So I think Ted's kind of broader in the sense that it doesn't have to be on school, whereas Max, it's all about school. So
Mhm.
people come to that for different reasons.
I don't even know your story. Do you have time? I don't want to take too much of your time.
I have a couple minutes. Yeah. What's up?
I want to hear your story. How do you feel?
My story?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I started in like February. I quit my job and found school at like the same time, like a couple days before I was going to leave my job. I was working for a nonprofit. So I dropped out of college, hated school, and I just worked jobs while also trying to build businesses and like following all the popular businesses on social media and e-commerce and drop shipping and SMMA and everything. And I found Ted right as I had quit my job, invested my savings, 2 grand into one of his programs, made 2 grand back. He shot me a message. He was like, "Hey, do you know how to write?" And I like literally wouldn't have mattered what he asked me. I would have figured it out with a YouTube video or something. So I wrote him a 200-page book in 30 days. And then, yeah, and he paid me 2 grand for that. So it paid for the course that I was in. I reinvested that 2 grand to go to one of his events. Um, that was May. May, I realized I could probably make money with the copywriting thing. I just like I had no idea what a good open rate was. So I sent a screenshot. You know Daniel Bissonette?
Oh.
He's a marketer. So I sent him a screenshot. He asked me what my open rates were, and I sent him a screenshot. It was like a 52% open rate with like a 25% click-through rate. And he was like, "What the frick? Like, this is really good." I was like, "Oh, really? Like, I have better ones." I started sending him like all my numbers, and he's like, "What the frick?" And so I was like, "Oh, maybe like I should actually do this copywriting thing." Like, I wrote a project for TED. I've got some other people in the marketing space. I'm helping with like graphics on school. So then I just went all in with the copywriting. It was mostly just because I was like salty at the fact that I hadn't made money on school, and I just was like so over it. Did not want to be a copywriter. I was just like, this will do. Started copywriting, got on a bunch of sales calls in May, met most of the clients through in-person events and masterminds like Ted's. And pretty much from the get-go was working with school games winners. So I worked with Goose. He was one of my first clients. Ted was another client. And then hit 10K in June. Met Max Pearson, started working for Max, started working for Ryan Schroep. Then so I was at like 10K. Then August, I was just so bored. Like I flew home and I was like driving back from the airport with my brother, and it was like I think August or July 29th or the 30th, whatever the day before August 1st was. And my brother was driving me back, and I was like, "Do you want to go for the games next month?" My brother's not a business owner at all. But I was like, it'll be great. We'll make all this money. I'll give you like a 20% profit share, whatever. He's like, yeah, yeah, let's do it. So I got really excited. I mapped out the whole plan. I started going for it. He had no idea what he was doing, but he helped a little bit. Um, and I think I did like 8K in the first couple of weeks. So I was just trying to coach people on how to do copywriting. Then I got on a call with Max, completely switched it to a done for you service offer. Did about 20, 21, 22K in the last like few days of the school games, and got really cool clients. So I got like Stephen Pope as a client, Doug Boughton as a client, some of like the top 10 people on school. Essentially, like all my clients were like pretty successful. And then I had like the newbie offer where I was just building out their school. Um, so then I was stuck with 35 clients at 999 done for you. And I was like, holy shit. I had no team, nothing. It was just purely me. So the same 16-hour days that won the games was like what I was doing for the whole month of September. Um, but because of the personal brand I built on school and the fact that I worked for like some of the biggest communities on school, I had a lot of leverage. So then I just started charging more and more, to the point that now I have like I have like 7 or 8 clients, and I make more money than I did with 35 clients because I just charge way more. Yeah, I have a $10,000 client right now that I'm just like helping him launch his community for the games. So
Honestly,
yeah, way higher leverage. So
shit.
that's the game plan is like less coaching, more writing, higher level clients, probably off school. I think I think my demographic is probably not on school, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, because most of the clients that I work with, they're making over 100K a month. There's people on school doing that, but ideally, if I want to charge 10K, it's probably going to be in like the real estate niche is where I've had a lot of success. But probably moving off school. And then yeah, now I'm charging like 3K a month for consulting, which is like one call a week. So easy. Um, so kind of dialing back on like the coaching. Although I did just launch a low ticket community and I still have the 999 community. So those things are kind of just like running themselves at this point. But right now it's pretty much just focused on the writing. So all the credit is to Ted, honestly. Like Max has been incredible, but I talk to Max like once a month, and like every bit of his advice that he's given me has been amazing and has made huge moves in my business. But I talk to Ted almost every day, and I've worked with Ted like so much. Ted is like at this point basically family. So he's killing it. Did you know he's working for school now?
Yeah, yeah, he mentioned it at the games. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, what the heck? What does he
Yeah.
even do?
He's going to be in charge of the ambassador program, so helping facilitate in-person events.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But he's moving out here. He's moving to Manhattan Beach.
Ah, LA, let's go. He's gonna be
Yeah.
here? That's
Mhm.
exciting. Where are you at?
I'm in El Segundo. I just got like a studio, like literally right by the beach. I'm like maybe maybe like a tenth of a mile from the beach and like 0.4 miles from HQ. So
So nice. How does
yeah,
that feel like being on your own now compared to before?
so nice. I I'm such like an independent person. Like I would hate it if I didn't have people here that I knew. I'm sure that would be super lonely. But yeah, I the first month I think of moving out, I don't know if you can relate to this. First month kind of sucks because you're just like alone. You're like, what's going and then now if I go home, like I just sleep on the couch. Like I won't even sleep in my childhood bedroom because like I need to stay in that like travel mode to stay like sharp. So I really like just having like my own space and kind of just staying in that hustle mode. So I this is the longest I've been in one place. I'll be in this apartment hopefully long term. I'm testing it for a month, but I haven't been in one place for longer than 2 weeks since June. So
Wow. Have you traveled yet?
what?
Oh,
What's that?
you do you travel a lot?
Yeah, well, the games every month. And
Oh
then
yeah.
I go back to New York to visit family, Ireland, Vancouver. I'm like all over the place. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice having the games like because I go to the games every month because I have clients every month that are in the games. So like this month, thank God it's in California. So
Oh
that'll be
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Well, you get to know your clients. I don't I can't even pull up. It'd be cool if I could because I'm so nearby. But like I
Yeah.
don't know if it'll let me.
No, I think you have to be if you get top 10, then you get reinvited. So if you hit like 55K, I think you'd be top 10.
Well,
You were pretty close to that, so I think you could do that.
yeah.
Yeah, so repeat the school games month and just
Just yeah, just grind your balls off again. That's it. It'll be
yeah.
fun. That's I miss that. I miss that motivation.
Yeah,
It
so just
was
add the motivation for top 10. Get the crown.
true.
Yeah. That would be really
Yeah.
cool. I mean, the school games like yeah, it's mostly the people that you get out of that. Like you were just at the mansion. Like, the best part I think is like the people you get to hang out with. Obviously Alex is awesome, but yeah, just being around people like that keeps you really focused.
I like the mansion better, to be honest. Being
Yeah.
around that, the
Yeah.
people like get to talk to them. Like you're just we were just sitting in the back. I was sitting with the OnlyFans dude, the Anthony guy. It was
Mhm.
actually his manager. Like this
Oh,
dude had
okay.
like four. Did you talk to him? His name was like I
No,
forgot his name,
how
like
much?
Tony or something.
Okay.
Um, So he manages. I'm like, this is the big dog. Like this is the guy above the guy. He's like, oh, Anthony's just one of my his friends. He's like, Anthony, one of my clients. There's so much more. I'm like, how many more do you have? He's like, I'm like, so I asked him like, how much do you make? He's like, oh, last month, 1 million. I'm like,
Wow. Insane.
yeah. I'm like,
That, yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So I did 40,000. Do you have anything that could help me?
Oh, jeez. I don't know if I'd want to make 1 million in that industry, but props to him for
Yeah,
finding.
I mean, nobody knows his face. Like, he's not known anywhere. He just runs people's accounts. He's like the background guy who just does the account, like a
Yeah.
super like technical like nerd.
Yeah.
So he was telling me like, here's like Instagram challenges that get people really engaged, really high sales rate. Here's like the specific type of CTAs you need to hit to get the most sales. I'm like, what? I have it all written down. I'm like, that's crazy. Um,
Yeah. Well, I think you could either create a vertical stack on your offer where you kind of continue to help people pass the SAT, or you just go all in with that and absolutely like juice that market. I think you can continue to do that at 999 and like just target the people that have money, which I think there's enough students that have money or have access to their parents' money that like the advice they gave you at the games is rock solid. So I would just go all in with that. And then if there's demand for it, create a vertical offer, like something that's
what does that mean?
in vertical alignment with what you're doing. So like for me, my low ticket, I thought that was like a massive distraction. Like at the games, I literally said I was going to shut that down. I'm not going to because I was talking to Ted and like it doesn't take anything away from my core offer, which is copywriting. All I do is share looms of me writing my clients' emails, and like that way people in my low ticket can copy what my high ticket clients are doing. So it's like actually takes no time away from what I'm doing. It's making me money and it's, adding value to people at the same time. So in vertical alignment just means it's like in the same niche and it's basically just an extension of what you're doing. And so same client avatar can, you know, buy the one offer and also need the second offer. And it's not like distracting you from the first offer. Um, so it's kind of a natural addition to what you're doing currently. So for you, that might be like college prep or, finding a college, writing your college essay or, sending out the perfect college application. Or if it's not college, maybe it's career, maybe it's jumping right into like a good career, or maybe it's like networking or something like that.
I've considered low ticket. I mean, they said it's a distraction, but you said if it takes zero time, it doesn't matter.
The way I've structured it, I do zero calls for my low ticket. I do absolutely nothing. It's kind of embarrassing. Um, but like, yeah, I think if you set it up like that, then you don't have to, it doesn't take away. There's a lot of people that are low ticket, like they're doing a call every day because that's their main source of income. I'm not concerned if my low ticket goes to zero because it's not my main source of income. Like it's bringing in, I just started it 2 weeks ago. It's bringing in like 4K a month right now, and I'm not promoting it at all. Like I just post about it in my free community occasionally. And so that's kind of nice. Like if I want to make it a primary source, like I don't know what it would go to if I started promoting it, but it's interesting to see how like that's a natural thing. Like if you could create a low ticket where you weren't investing time, I don't know that that would work necessarily. Like there might be a way to do it, but I'm not saying necessarily do exactly what I'm doing. Just find a way that's like vertically integrated with what you're currently doing, and it would just make sense for the current clients you have to continue working with you and hopefully reduce churn or just, send them to the next offer.
Yeah, I'll try to mix because I was thinking low ticket. We have so many poor people that we decline, but like they're
Yeah.
willing to pay like 100, but not like 1,000. So yeah,
Would
it's like
they
you're
pay
like losing them.
Like, what about a pre-recorded course where you like don't do any live calls? It's just access to a course.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or maybe like one live call because I'm not doing the calls. Like we pay tutors to do that, so I can just tell them to do it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
That's what my low ticket gets. They get like access to one of the calls that my coach does in the high ticket community. So they get
I see.
access to one high ticket call, which is like super high perceived value, zero time for me.
I see. Smart.
Yeah. And the high ticket people don't need to even really know that you have a low ticket offer.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, we can
Just check
separate
when
them.
they're churning. When they're churning, try and get them to stay in the high ticket. If they don't, then get them into the low ticket.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
There's so much to like. I just learn random stuff like this from like this is why I like being in the HQ. It's like you hear like one line to them, it's normal stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think of
Yeah.
that.
It was only because I went to the game so many times. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start a low ticket. Like, what the heck? Everyone's doing it. All my
Oh yeah.
clients. It's just
Haven't you
like
been to like every single one after
since
August?
yeah, I've been to like five. Yeah. June, July, August, September, October. Yeah. But they're not gonna do them again like the same way next year. It's gonna be quarterly. So,
I think quarterly. Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder how that's gonna work. Are we allowed to replay?
What?
Are we allowed to replay? Like, can me and you, can we re?
They're gonna do, yeah, they're going to be doing battle royales again. I don't know when or what it's gonna look like, but I do know Max is gonna have another opportunity to go against Keytron.
Oh
That's
my
all I
God.
know. So yeah,
Yeah. He's on 300K. That's
$316,000 plus 100K cash.
plus 100K cash. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So all of his marketing and expenses are covered. It's just
It's gonna pay
300K
off.
in 1 month. Yeah, they've got a lot of delivery to do. I think like I'm gonna be helping them with their delivery because it's like that level of insanity that like they just need help. So yeah, I'm actually hopping on a call with their team next. But yeah, let me know if there's anything I can help with if you're, look if you need any help or have any questions on the low ticket or whatever it is that you're working on. Happy to share what I'm doing. But yeah, awesome story. Really
Of
excited
course.
to write this up. I'll send it to you when I have it ready.
Thank you. Go look at that. One more thing before we go. How often do
Yeah.
you come to HQ? You just
What's
pull up
that?
often. HQ, like how often do you go?
It depends who's here. I probably won't be there a ton next week because my brother's coming to visit from New York. But I usually go if like Ted's in because like it's an automatic in. I think it's like a careful thing now to like not overstay the welcome. So I've like taken note of that. I obviously like I know Sam really well and I know Goose really well. So if Goose is in, then I can go in. But um I I kind of go through spurts where I'm like in every single day for like a couple weeks. And then I just like go into like monk mode and I've got to just like work on a bunch of stuff and I don't show up for like a week straight. Um, but I mean, I live here. Like that's why I got an apartment half a mile away so that I can just walk in every day. Like I'm going in later today. So I would say at least normally at least a couple times a week. Sometimes it's like 6 days a week. Other times I just skip the whole week. So it's sporadic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I was wondering. But yeah, good luck with that. Sorry for taking so much time.
No,
But
no, I appreciate you taking the time and yeah, we'll stay in touch, reach out, and let me know when you're coming to HQ.
of course. All right, good luck. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.